If you're wondering what people actually do for fun in a small town like Moscow, this video is for you. I'm Chris Carpenter, a longtime resident and real estate agent here in Moscow, Idaho. I've been here for 11 years and I've personally experienced everything I'm about to share with you in this video. If you don't know where to look, you might not think there's a lot to do, but Moscow has a lot of fun offerings. So today, I'm taking you through 18 of the top things to do in Moscow, Idaho. We'll walk through some outdoor adventures. Of course, we'll visit some local eats, and we'll even talk about a few nearby spots that are absolutely worth the drive. Let's start with some outdoor activities first. A must-do in Moscow, you guessed it, the summer farmers market. If you want to know what Saturdays in Moscow feel like, this is it. The farmers market runs May through October every Saturday from 8 to 1, and it takes over downtown. Booths line Main Street with fresh produce, baked goods, flowers, handmade soaps. You name a handcrafted good and you'll probably find it here. There's usually live music playing. You'll see kids darting around the fountain and the playground in Friendship Square, people with coffee in one hand and a scone in the other, and more than a few neighbors you forgot you needed to catch up with. Parking can be a little tricky sometimes, but honestly, that short walk through downtown and seeing the streets come alive, it's worth it. Our favorite way to do the farmers market is to hop on the bikes, pack up the kids, and ride down from our home. If you're new to Moscow, start here. It's one of the fastest ways to feel part of the community, and if you're visiting, this is the single best way to understand what makes Moscow, Moscow. If you're a plant person, you'll get a little extra out of this next one. Hands down, one of the most beautiful spots in Moscow is the U of I Arboretum. Activity 2 is taking the family on a picnic or walk through the Arboretum. You've got winding gravel trails, water features, over 2,500 different plant species. It's divided into regions like Asian, European, and North American gardens. The Arboretum is made up of 63 acres just south of campus, and it's open every day all year round. The best part is that every season changes the experience with different activities to enjoy. Fall is a personal favorite for me and my family. The variety of plants make for a stunning palette that'll get you in the fall mood. If you're visiting in fall, make it a point to stroll the Arboretum before you go. You won't be disappointed. For a real taste of Idaho's native recreation experience, you'll want to do activity number 3, an afternoon hike at Idler's Rest Nature Preserve. Idler's Rest is a 35-acre nature preserve just northeast of Moscow at the base of Moscow Mountain, and it's perfect for a quick reset. I would say that Idler's Rest is a bite-sized representation of local hiking available to you. There are more challenging options around, but Idler's Rest's main loop, about 1.3 miles, is super manageable while still giving you a great taste of Idaho's towering cedars, open fields, and a few spots that overlook the Palouse. It's great for families, especially with younger kids. We've done this trail a bunch of times. It's just the right length to feel like you got outside without committing to a day-long hike. Just a heads up, dogs are allowed on this trail, but they must be leashed. For the most part, this trail stays quiet, and you'll probably see more squirrels and birds than people. Hiking isn't the only way to experience the Palouse though. One of the most popular ways to get out and about in Moscow is on a bike. We've got an amazing bike trail that you've got to try. Taking a ride on either the Leta Trail or Bill Chipman Trail is activity number 4. If you're visiting Moscow, let's make sure you have a bike and pick the right one. The Leta Trail runs 12 miles from Moscow to Troy. It's fully paved, wide, and super scenic the whole way. You'll ride past farmland, tree lines, and stretches of open sky that just kind of go on forever. 12 miles is a commitment for sure. You can always just turn back whenever you want, or you could try the Bill Chipman Palouse Trail, which goes from Moscow to Pullman, Washington. This one's 8 miles and follows Paradise Creek the entire way. If you're visiting from out of town, you don't need to own a bike either. Paradise Creek Bicycles will rent one to you. They'll even drop it off and pick it up if needed, which is super cool. If you're wondering why people are so obsessed with the Palouse, go to this next one. To get the most expansive Palouse views, you'd either be doing a hike up Moscow Mountain, Kamiak Butte, or driving maybe 45 minutes to Steptoe Butte. I would recommend this one if you don't have the time or desire to do one of the other outdoor activities I've mentioned so far. This one is just 5 minutes south of Moscow and you can drive straight there. Super low commitment level. Locally, we call it the top of the world. Watching the sunset from the top of the world is activity number 5. Let's be sure you know how to get there. First, head out of town toward the south on Highway 95. Probably a mile past the grain silos, you'll find a turn lane. You're looking for Zettler Road. It'll be a left turn and a steep hill. Drive up the hill until you hit Cameron Road and you're there. From here, you can see Moscow, the farms beyond it, and depending on the time of year, the colors are unreal. Hands down, the best time to go is at sunset. Bring a friend or the family, bring some snacks, and sit on the hood of your car as the sun goes down. I'm just saying there's a reason that the Palouse is called the Tuscany of North America. All of this talk of hiking and biking is making me hungry. Let's talk about food. Something we've talked about in our pros and cons video about Moscow is Moscow's food scene. If you want to watch that video, I'll link it here for you. There are a lot of food offerings to pick from here in Moscow. I'm going to give you the inside scoop on the absolute must-tries while you're here in town. There's a reason people line up outside this place on the weekends. So make sure to get up early one morning during your visit and treat yourself to some breakfast at one of Moscow's most iconic spots, the Breakfast Club. It's got that warm, lived-in vibe where the staff knows half of the people walking through the door and the service is excellent. It's family-owned, always busy, and trust me, totally worth the wait. You really can't go wrong with anything on the menu, but to get the full Idaho experience, you have to try one of their huckleberry items. I'm partial to the pancakes and the huckleberry zucchini bread. My go-to order here is the Eggs Benedict. They call it the Benny, which is my son's nickname too, and it's an absolute winner. If you're into craft beer and rotating menus, this is your place. Taphouse is a must visit for lunch or dinner while you're in town, so that's activity number 7. If you happen to love laughing and having fun with your friends, Tapped offers something special. Tapped is right in the heart of downtown. They've got 25 regional beers and 10 wines on tap, plus a seasonal menu that always has something unexpected. When you go, make sure to ask about their rotating burger. One week, it's a breakfast burger with bacon, eggs, and some magical sauce that the team whipped up. And the next, it's a fried avocado sandwich with aioli that makes you want to come back every single day that week. Tapped is a great hangout spot, whether you're meeting friends or just looking for a laid-back night with genuinely good food. Now, if you're visiting with a fun-loving group of friends or family, make sure to go to Tapped on Tuesday night at 7:30 because Tapped puts on a weekly trivia night that's an absolute blast. For activity number 8, we're going quick, no frills, and absolutely legendary. Set aside a lunch for this one. You won't regret it because you're going to Mikey's Gyros. Mikey's has been around since the early 80s. The vibe's casual, the service is fast, and the food hits every time. You can sit outside, grab it to go, whatever. This is the kind of place that ends up in so many people's weekly rotation without even trying. Everyone agrees the must-try at Mikey's is the deluxe gyro. Order one with a couple extra ounces of meat, depending on how hungry you are, and you're set. Now, here's a question. Have you ever had coffee in a grain silo? That would be a cool experience, wouldn't it? If you're all about finding the super unique local spots, activity number 9 will take you to one of the most unique coffee spots you've ever been to. It's in an actual grain silo. Silos and Social has this industrial meets boho vibe that just works. It's cozy, super photogenic, and their breakfast sandwich is amazing. Great coffee, fresh pastries, legit sandwiches and salads, and run by a local mother and daughter duo who clearly care about what they're serving. This is a go-to meeting place and work spot for locals. Make sure to take the time to snag a morning coffee here between your other activities while you're in town. When you want a night out that feels a little more elevated, these are your 2 best bets. Activity number 10 takes us to high-end dining in the area. Dinner at Lodgepole or just across the border at Black Cypress in Pullman. Pullman, you say? I'll explain myself. Lodgepole is largely considered the Black Cypress comparable in Moscow. It's all about seasonal, farm-to-fork dishes. It's intimate, the menu's always changing, and the ingredients are locally sourced. If you're into food that feels thoughtful without being fussy, this is the spot for you. The reason I include Black Cypress is because locals would uproar if I didn't. And it's my personal favorite also. Black Cypress is largely considered the best high-end dining experience around. So even though it's not in Moscow, I couldn't go without mentioning it. It's well worth the short drive to Pullman. Black Cypress offers Mediterranean-inspired dishes that are just as delicious as their presentation. And if you're a steak lover like me, get their ribeye, it's totally worth the cost. Between the two, you've got your bases covered for date nights, anniversaries, or any other important events you'd like to celebrate. Something we mention a lot is how family-friendly Moscow is. So a things to do in Moscow list would be incomplete without some family-specific activities for you to do during your stay. For activity 11, I'm sending you to Friendship Square. If downtown Moscow had a front porch, this would be it. Fun for kids and adults. If you can, pair it with the farmer's market and activities 12 and 13, do it. If you've seen our downtown Moscow tour video, you know that Friendship Square sits right at the center of town, and it's kind of the heartbeat of the city. It's where the farmer's market live music is hosted. So like I said, pair your visit to Friendship Square with the farmer's market. There are plenty of shady benches for parents and the fountain and playground for kids. Come here without an agenda, and odds are you'll end up staying longer than you meant to because you struck up a conversation with some new friends. And as I mentioned, your visit to Friendship Square pairs perfectly with the next two activities. When the kids get tired out at Friendship Square Playground, your next stop will bring you to one of the oldest stores in town, Hodgins. Hodgins has been around since the 1890s, and it's part pharmacy, part toy, and hobby shop. You might walk in expecting a store resembling the toy section in Walmart, but what you actually get is all kinds of fun, out of the ordinary toys and hobby items for all ages, even adults. There are so many cool finds for both adults and kids in Hodgins. Tons of unique toys you won't find in big box stores, a huge board game selection, puzzles, and a ton of other items that I couldn't even categorize for you. If you're already downtown, just go in, even if it's only to peruse the shelves. Once you're done in Hodgins, your next destination for the family is just south of Friendship Square. And if it's a hot day, you'll appreciate Activity 13 all the more because you're going to Moscow's only dedicated downtown ice cream shop, Panhandle Ice Cream. Panhandle is known for creative, small batch ice cream that somehow makes every other scoop in your life feel average. Flavors like salted caramel brown butter cookie or strawberry balsamic, they're the kind of combinations that might sound a little different until you try them. Side note, if you're dairy-free, they always have a couple of non-dairy options for you. It's such a cozy little shop, usually busy, and absolutely worth the visit. Plus, they've got great coffee if you're not feeling ice cream, but we all know you should get the ice cream. When evening comes, something that people love about Moscow is that downtown tends to wind down instead of getting crazy. A favorite way to get the weekend started is to find some live music, which is Activity 14, live music at Bootzer's Coffee House. Bootzer's is a coffee shop meets pub kind of location. Live music Thursday through Saturday with everything from jazz and blues to Celtic sets. The only challenge here is space. There's not a ton of room, so be sure to arrive early, grab a table, drink, and a bite to eat, then settle in for a great evening of talented musicians. There are other places all over town where you can find live music, especially on the weekends, so try out some of the others until you find your vibe. For activity number 15, we're doing something totally different. If you're the type of person who wants to buy every historic home you pass by, then you'll love driving through the historic Fort Russell district. And that's activity number 15. Fort Russell is one of the oldest parts of Moscow, with homes dating back to the late 1800s. Think Queen Anne architecture, wraparound porches, and big leafy trees lining the streets. You'll probably end up driving through slowly without even meaning to. There's no formal tour or signage. You just cruise through, take it in, and ooh and ah at the homes while speculating what you'd do with each, or which ones you could see yourself living in. Moscow definitely has plenty to do in and around the town, but there's still more to do and see if you're willing to drive a little bit. And these last 3 activities are too good not to include. We already talked about top of the world. Those are some great views, but they aren't the absolute best of what you can get. If you have the time and adventurous spirit, there's one place you can go with 100-mile views. On a clear day, you can literally see all the way to Oregon. The best part is that so long as you have an SUV, you won't have to hike unless you want to. Activity number 16, drive all the way up to East Moscow Mountain Lookout. East Moscow Mountain is about a 45-minute drive if you travel the Moscow Mountain Road route. If the gates are open, you can also drive up the backside of the mountain. Though shorter, that route tends to have some rocky sections that are hard on your tires. Either route ends with a panoramic lookout over rolling farm fields and forest. When it's clear, you can see all the way to distant mountain ranges like the Willowas, 100 miles away in Oregon, and the Seven Devils. The road itself is gorgeous and mostly mellow, just a gradual climb through timberland with a few steep parts. There are some places when you're driving on the edge of drop-offs, so if you're afraid of heights, maybe let someone else drive. When you get near the top, portions of the road have some narrow brush growth. So if you're driving a nicer car or rental car, you might opt to park the car at this intersection and walk the last few miles. When you reach the summit, you won't be disappointed. The East Lookout is topped with a granite outcrop and nothing but horizon. It is awesome. Pack a lunch and maybe even some binoculars or a spotting scope for the best experience. Make it a game, see how many landmarks around Moscow you can pick out. Now for something different. This one is a win if you're looking for an activity that's just downright fun. Between Moscow and Pullman, we have the Airway Hills mini golf course, which is activity number 17. Airway Hills is just across the border in Washington, and it's got an 18-hole mini golf course with water features, boulders, and enough quirky obstacles to keep it interesting. It's casual, fun, and a great way to get some light family competition going. They've also got a driving range, indoor golf simulators, and a short par 3 course. It's easy, reasonably priced, and just good fun for everyone. We're down to our last one. Number 18 is a bit of a drive. You'll be headed out to a small town east of Moscow called Deary, to a little spot that claims national recognition for their cheeses. If you're in town, have the time, and want to see a little more of the countryside, the Pie Safe Bakery in small town Deary is the #1 place I'd recommend you go. Pie Safe Bakery is about a 30-minute drive east of Moscow. Despite the drive, when they opened back in 2016, they quickly became a destination for families and couples living in Moscow. Given Moscow's already full food scene, that should tell you the quality of food is really good. Wood-fire pizza, house-made pastries that are to die for, amazing ice cream, it's all top-notch. You can also buy their nationally awarded cheeses from Brush Creek Creamery. I suggest the marinated labna. It's a crowd favorite, and you don't have to be a cheese connoisseur to enjoy it. And it has won first place at the American Cheese Society competition in 2016, 17, 18, and 2022. So when are you visiting Moscow? Let me know when you do. I or my team would love to hop on the phone with you and give you some suggestions customized to your interests.